Okay, you are viewing the solutions for Course 3, Class 2, Homework Assignment number 1. Question number 1 asks, what is the sign of A? Right here. Remember, solving these problems is all about the SOHCAHTOA. In this case, the sign of the sign equals the opposite over hypotenuse. So we write the problem as the sign of A equals the opposite over the hypotenuse, which is here, 5. The sign of A is 4/5. Correct answer is B. Question number 2 asked, the graph of f of x equals the cosine of x. That's what's shown. How will the graph of negative x change from the graph of f of x? One thing to know is that cosine is an even function, and so the f of negative x will equal the f of x, which means the correct answer is K. There will be no change at all. Question 3 has a whole lot of reading. It's not a surprise. You'll encounter these kinds of questions on the ACT. It says, Anne, who is standing at point A, here, is trying to determine which friend she should swim to in order to swim the shorter length. Ben is standing at point B, B for Ben, and Cassidy is standing at point C, C for Cassidy. Anne knows Ben and Cassidy are 12 meters apart, and the following angle measures, here you see the measure of angle ACB is 102 degrees, and the measure of angle ABC is 68 degrees. To whom should she swim, and how can she determine which length is shorter? And this is actually, there's no math involved, just some thinking. One thing that you need to know is that when you're looking at a triangle, the side that's opposite the largest angle is the longest side. So this technically becomes the hypotenuse because it's opposite the 102 degrees. So she should actually swim to Cassidy because Cassidy's side, the side right here, is opposite the smaller angle, the 68-degree angle. So the correct answer is Cassidy, D. In a triangle, the side opposite the largest angle is the longest, so the side opposite the smallest angle is the shortest. Question 4 is a simple probability question. If 4 of 10 shirts are dressy, what is the probability that you will randomly choose a shirt that is not dressy? So think about it this way. If the probability is 4 out of 10 that they are dressy, that means there are 6 chances left to round out the full 10, 6 of 10 that are not dressy. So the correct answer is G, 0.6. Question 5 asked, what is the cosine squared of B? B is right here. And remember, SOHCAHTOA, in this case we're talking about the cosine. Cosine is the adjacent over the hypotenuse. This is the adjacent, radical 7, over the hypotenuse, 3. So the cosine squared of B equals radical 7 over 3, and that entire quantity squared. If you're going to square the whole thing, you square the top and the bottom. So the nice thing about that is the square root of 7 squared is just going to give you 7. And 3 squared is going to give you 9. So the correct answer is 7/9, C. It's important to keep in mind that if you can remember SOHCAHTOA and practice some of these problems, you can get them solved very quickly, and that saves you time later on in the test. Question 6, which of the following is an expression for the length of side AB? So here is side AB. What's an expression for the side of AB? The law of sine states that the sine of A over A equals sine of B over B equals the sine of C over C for any triangle. So in this case, how can we express the sine, or how could we express the side here? And the problem that you have is you do not know the measure of this angle yet. So you know altogether they've got to equal 180 degrees. So you take the 180 degrees minus the two angles that you do have, which are 93 and 24. So 93 plus 24. So that's 180 minus 117, which equals 63. So the measure of this angle is 63 degrees. At this point, we've got ourselves an algebra problem here, because what we don't know is this right here, this side. But we do know the measure of this side. So if we look at it that way, then we would say the sine of 24 over 8. Right? So sine of 24 over 8, that's this guy right here, equals the sine of 63, which we just found, over x, the thing that we don't know. 63 over x. And then you can solve for that. Let me just give a little bit more room here. Solving this problem algebraically, we're going to cross multiply here and here, and end up with the sine of 24x equals 8 times the sine of 63. Remember, we're trying to find out what x is up here, so divide both sides by sine of 24 to get x by itself. And these cancel out over here, leaving us with x equals 8 times sine of 63 over sine of 24. So the correct answer is F. Okay, the last problem in the homework assignment is a combinations problem. Prom planning committee consists of 1 junior and 2 seniors. If there are 225 juniors and 240 seniors, how many different combinations are there for the prom planning? So the way to think about this is there are 225 different ways that you could pick juniors. So 225 different ways that you could pick, because there's only 1 junior, and it's 225 of them. You're going to multiply that by the first senior that gets picked. There's 240 different options for the first senior that gets picked. So 225 times 240. But you're picking 2 seniors. So when you go to pick the second senior, there are not 240 options left, because one of those seniors was taken up here. And so what's left is 239. So if you use your calculator and multiply out 225 times 240 times 239, you'll find that the correct answer is D, 12,906,000. Be careful, because you'll see that E is a distractor, 12,960,000. So make sure you double check what you're seeing on your calculator with the answers when you select them. And that is it for Course 3, Class 2, Homework Assignment Number 1. 3, 2, 1. Good job. You are nearly finished with all the homework in the course.